Hey guys, so our sort of capstone, as it were, composite for now at least. We'll come back to compositing. I think we'll probably have some more stuff we'll do with compositing later. But with what we'll do now is we're going to create a book cover. More specifically, we're going to create the dust jacket for a hardcover book. So if you're not really sure what I'm referring to here, just remember every time you see one of those hardcover books, you've got this little dust jacket. I'll see if I can't find you a good example. Here's one. I'm not sure what this book is, but the whole idea here is that you've got the front cover and you've got the spine, you've got the back cover, and you've got the flaps on the inside of both the front and the back. And normally what you'll have is you'll have the plot summary here on the front, and you'll have some information about the author. Obviously, this is not set in stone, but for our purposes, that's what we'll do. Our front cover obviously is going to be this right here on the left, or on the right rather. Then our spine, the spine usually goes, from top down, right? So not, if you have it sitting on its, on its sort of bottom edge, you'll see the top down coming down here, and then you'll see like the back. Now, usually on the back of these hardcovers, unless this is a person's first novel, you'll tend to see blurbs for how this for what other authors kind of think about this. So in this case, what we'll be doing is we'll put a couple of these in here. You've got some requirements as far as how many items you need for this thing. So I'm going to have us let's get rid of this right here. I've got 4 items here. I've got a sort of Alabama countryside because I'm going to be doing To Kill a Mockingbird. So I've got a few elements I'm going to put in here. I've got this branch I found online as a PNG. I've got this justice scales I found online, also a PNG, and I'll see if I can edit that to make it fit in a little bit better. And then I've got this Mockingbird, which is obviously a good thing to have for To Kill a Mockingbird. Let's just take a look at this little template. You should have downloaded this template already. So this is just a PSD file that you're going to download. Before we get started here, let's go ahead and file save as, and we'll just call this, I'll put this in my To Kill a Mockingbird folder, and I'll just call this To Kill a Mockingbird Dust Jacket. Okay, and so what we'll want to do is we'll want to figure out what our cover is going to look like. Now, I'm going to ask that you have a, shall we say, image that goes across the front cover and the back cover that you can then, put the elements of your stuff on top of it here. So in this case, what I'll do is I'm just going to drag this in. Let me see if I can pull my Photoshop here in, and I'll explain kind of what some of this stuff means here. So I'll pull this in, and what we'll do is we'll just sort of fit it right about here. Okay, so I've got this setting to snap to the guides here. If that's not happening, what you want to do is find snap and just snap to and just click all, so it snaps to the guides. What you have here are some margins, and what we want to do is we want to kind of take a look at, so this is our front cover, our spine, our back cover, and then we have our flaps. Now these little areas in between, these little areas right here, these are some just little areas where it's going to wrap around the thickness of the cover. So this tends to be what you see just sort of when it's sort of closed, what you just sort of see kind of peeking through, on the edges. Same thing here. This wraps around the spine. So we have these little margins here, so we know that nothing wraps around. And then this little area at the top, and this little area at the bottom, and these little areas on the edge, this is called the bleed. The bleed is essentially just there for when we print this. If this goes to a printer, usually they'll go to like a really big printer. They'll print this whole thing on a big piece of paper, and then they'll cut it down to size. Sort of a standardized piece of paper, and then they'll cut it down to size. Because obviously, not all books are going to be the same size because they have different pages, page numbers. They have different thicknesses, different font sizes, and stuff like that. So with all this being said, the bleed is there to ensure that when you do cut off the top here, this is where they'll cut along this line right here, that there's not going to be this ugly little white mark that's probably going to be uneven, kind of like crooked, right? So we want to have this all the way to the top here, and then extend it all the way to where we see this little where the dust jacket sort of flaps. We get hold down Shift and kind of pull this down here just to where it sort of lines up with the little guide. And from there, obviously, whatever you use in the background, you're going to want to adjust depending on where you put it. So in this case, I think I like this here, but I'm gonna actually flip this around. So I'm gonna get my free transform tool. I'm just gonna right click on it and do a flip horizontal, just so this little tree is right here, and we can have just kind of like this distance right here. So this is the Alabama countryside. Now this is set in the 1960s, so I suppose this is probably okay. Just with like the city in the background here, it's not a big deal. If there was like a jet plane flying around, then that might be one of those things we want to take out. But in this case, this is fine. And so we'll just start putting our disparate elements inside here. So let me just see if I can't find my other stuff. This is the wrong thing. I'll just find my branch. I'll put my branch in. I'll grab my, okay, I gotta stop doing this. I'll grab my scales. Oops, I gotta press check here. And I'll put my scales in. Check that. And then I'll grab my bird. Once again, I gotta stop clicking on the internet here. Grab my bird here. And I'll just put a little check mark there too. Okay, so we have all these elements here. Let's see if we can start shaping them up. All right, so this is just sort of like base principles, just to kind of show you, kind of how to go about this. This is not necessarily a rule to follow by, but first I'll just shrink everything down. Oh, this has a watermark on it. Oh, meant to get one that didn't have a watermark. I'll see if I can erase that later. But I'll leave the watermark on there. Just found this on Google. So we'll put this up here. We'll bring this over to the side. We'll flip this around. Free transform. Flip horizontal. And I'll just pull this to the side. I'll make this a bit bigger. And if this extends onto the jacket, that's fine too. That adds a little flavor to it, I guess. And then we'll just take this, and we'll do the same. Well, we'll just pull this down here, kind of set it on top of the branch, maybe make it a little bit smaller. Yeah, it's on a branch, and then we'll take this right here, and I'll make this a good deal smaller as well. And I'll do some erasing here because we don't want these little shadows. This is not actually sitting on anything. It's just gonna be kind of like there. Sure, my opacity is up to 100%. Erase here. And okay, so just to kind of give an idea here. For example, this background is very, very bright, so I might pull down the saturation just slightly, just to have it sort of push back into the background here. I'll go to my image, or rather, image adjustments, saturation. I'll pull the saturation down slightly, and then I'll take these guys here and I'll brighten them up a good deal. Just do this like one at a time. Saturation, pull it up slightly. Same with this thing, image adjustments, saturation. Pull it up slightly. And I might even just take this, I might actually pull the saturation back up, but pull down pull up the lightness as well, just to kind of have it sort of a little bit faded, so this stands out a little more. Okay, that's good. And then I'll just put these little scales here. So the idea of To Kill a Mockingbird, if you haven't read it already, is it's about a trial of a man who's wrongfully accused of a crime, but because of the sort of discrimination of 1960s Alabama, he's not getting a fair trial. And so the idea of To Kill a Mockingbird, we've got something who's totally innocent. To kill a mockingbird would be something akin to a foul deed. So this miscarriage of justice that this man's going through is in and of itself a terrible act, just as bad as the crime that he's being accused of. So what we'll do is we'll kind of hoist this back here, and I'll actually make this just slightly transparent, just so it's not kind of shining through. All right, and so we'll just have that kind of hanging out there. All right, and so to put in our, I'll just erase this element back here so it's not going through to the other side. In fact, I'll just do my marquee tool and just delete. It'll do the same thing to the branch. I'll just delete that part of the branch as well. Make sure you rasterize the things that you have. Okay, and so with that done, let's see if we can add in our text, our title here. So we want to go to the top of the key here, and we'll just add our title. In this case, the title is To Kill a Mockingbird. And if you leave the font like this. I'm just going to tell you, if you leave the font just like Calibri or anything like just sort of a normal font, you're going to lose points. I want you guys to get like a really nice font here. So find something that you think best fits the sort of thing. So in this case, this is sort of a gothic kind of like a tale of drama, a little morose, a little sad. So I'm going to find something that's a little serious looking here. So let me think here. We're not going to use Jokerman, not going to use anything like that. We're just going to find something that's a little bit subdued, but at the same time catchy. So let me find this. Word now. Let's see here. Sulfate might be okay. Varsity regular not gonna be okay. Let's look. So you'll just, while I'm searching this out, I'll settle on something here eventually. Basic. In this case, we don't want a sans serif font. We want a serif font. Caslon, no. Bondschrift, no. How about we just go with Century? That's good. All right, so we'll just put some typography here. We'll make this bold, or rather faux bold. You right click on it, faux bold, thicken it up a little bit. we'll increase the size a good deal, and we'll put it on the same line. To kill a mockingbird. We'll make mockingbird. We'll make the lines about the same size here. Just hello. Undo that. And just drag this back. Kill a mockingbird. I wonder if maybe that would be, it makes the word kill a bit too large. Again, you're just going to take whatever title you've got and you'll make it your own here. Let's see. Okay, just undo what I just did here. To kill a mockingbird. To kill a mockingbird. Is mockingbird still? That's probably okay. And we'll just pull this down some. Maybe even put it to the side. Like so, and it's a bit too dark, so we'll make it white, and we might even add a. I'm not sure if I like that on its side. Let me just. Here, and then we'll add a shadow to it as well, just to make it stand out a little more. So right click on the layer, blending options, find drop shadow right there in the bottom, and you can kind of preview it as far as the size goes. Make the size or the spread a bit bigger, make the distance a bit bigger too, and it's still a little skew here, so I'll just pull it back just to make it line up a little bit better. Kill a mockingbird. And then we'll put, another text box, Harper Lee. In this case, this is all in one line. I'll make it a little smaller. Okay. Right. Okay, so just this is, I'm not super satisfied with the way this looks, but I'm just trying to show you precisely what we're talking about here. And so with putting that front cover there in, what we can do is now we can well, let me just copy this here. So you can, if you have a thing you like on one layer, you can copy layer style, and then you can paste the layer style here. So you add the same drop shadow there. To kill a mockingbird, Harper Lee. Sometimes the name of the author is bigger. Sometimes the name of the name of the book is bigger. It just depends on how famous the author is or how beloved the book is. And for the spine, we'll do the same thing. We'll just say to kill a mockingbird, Harper Lee, and we'll make this center align, and then we'll make it a good deal smaller. it slightly. Oops. Actually, what we'll do is we'll just click on the move tool, and we'll just hold down the control key, and we'll just, or the shift key rather, and we'll make sure it rotates properly. We'll put it right there, and again, we'll just paste the layer style here. To kill a mockingbird, properly make sure that's centered. And then what we'll do is we'll go over here and we'll just we'll put in a little thing here where it says praise for To Kill a Mockingbird. So we just click here, so praise. I'll make this just sort of a different font here. Maybe make it some like font shrift. Praise for To Kill a Mockingbird. In this case, we want to make sure we italicize this this bit here. So you'll just do whatever book you want. And so what we'll do is we'll find a review, and we'll see if we can. So if you can find some reviews here to put on there and paste layer style. And so I'll just put like some sample text here. What you'll actually do is you'll actually find some reviews. So just like review. Smaller, and then say who it was from, you know. All right, so that's kind of like the sort of template you'll be using there, just having the sort of name of the reviewer next to it, or below it, slightly below it. And what we'll do is we'll just duplicate these things, these two layers here. We'll paste layer style. Paste layer style. And we'll set these two right here, and we'll see if we can alt-click. I want to say we can alt-click it to sort of make another copy of it. Control. Right. Or you just do Control or Alt-Shift down, and we'll make two copies of this. But no, we have to do that first. Yeah, here we go. So just hold down Alt and then click and drag. And finally, it's like three little blurbs. You can go to the Amazon site and sort of find those. And then for the front flap, I'll go ahead and just make this bit, I'll make the sort of background invisible, and I'll put in a layer of white, so just Control backspace. And then I'll fill up with the background color. And then inside this little bit here, we can say, we can put our little headline. So we find a different font here. I'll find something besides bond shrift. How about we could just use, Cambria, something like that, and say. So we get, kind of a good little way of drawing them in. So I could just people in. So let's find our, what do you call it? Let's go to Window, find Character, and we can open that up. We can kind of see our text and stuff. So we can say, it's like here. Let's find a different color besides white. Let's find black here because we want that to show up. I'll make that tiny. Up here. And we just kind of like put it in the center and just put a little blurb kind of in the center. And I think I want to say I have found a blurb there. No, okay, let's see if we can go to the Amazon site for To Kill a Mockingbird. I'll just copy this, and then I'll create a little text box inside here. What I'll do is I'll take my text tool, I'll just draw a little box, and I'll just paste, and make sure it's visible. Let's see if we can make this a good deal smaller, just so it'll fit everything in here. Maybe get 6 point. Okay, how about we just shrink it down. This might be a bit too much. Maybe a bit too much words here. We'll just get rid of this first one here. Well, let's get rid of this. Okay, there we go. And we'll make To Kill a Mockingbird, make the title here just a bit bigger. And we'll just make this, we'll increase the size of this whole thing. Okay. All right. So you kind of understand what's happening here. Let's see if I can't. It's snapping to everything. That's why it's jerking around as I'm making it bigger. All right, so we want to make sure this doesn't go past the margins. We want to make sure that it has a little bit of some padding between the margins. So that's good there for the inside book jacket, and then we'll go over here on the other side, and we'll see if we can't find some information. Let's find Harper Lee here. We'll just right click and just copy this image here. We can find the Wikipedia page, and we can just go inside here. We just paste it and just drag it. I'll just select. Just make sure it's not on auto select, and we'll just drag it over here to the bit, and we can just say a few things about Harper Lee. In this case, what we'll do is we'll just select better know my opinion, Harper Lee. Okay, so we'll just we put a few words about the author here. You can read this yourself. You can find it from some sort of other page here. I'll just say Harper Lee was an American novelist born in Alabama. Her seminal work To Kill a Mockingbird was one of two novels she has written. Including the prequel work, Go Set, a Watchmen. And we'll just pull this off to the side, we'll put this into the middle here, and make sure it's not, Okay, and we'll just here, just pull this down some. All right, so that'll be good. We'll just center this up, these two things. Right, and so we'll just call this done, right? So this will be what we'll use here. Okay, so for this, for what we'll do now, so this right here, this if you were to like kind of envision this, how this is going to look, what we want to do right now is we want to open up our other document that I gave you guys, the hardcover mock-up. All right, so what you'll do is you'll save this as a PDF. So let's go to File, Save, and then we'll go to File. Oh, give it a second here. This is lots of stuff happening. So I've got a couple spelling errors here. I've got Mockingbird. I've probably got some spelling errors over this way here, and obviously don't have all this done. But we want to make sure that you don't have any spelling errors. Make sure that you get all this stuff kind of put in there. And I'll go to let's go to File, Save As, and we'll say this is a PDF. And so then when we open it up in Adobe, or in our internet, then we can see it that way. So with this right here, done. All right, okay. Say PDF, and we can open this up in the internet, as it were. So I can open with. Use a Chrome to open with, and so we can see kind of what it looks like here. We don't see the, anyway, I know obviously in this case we don't see the little guide, so we can kind of see how this looks. It looks like there's like some stuff hanging over the edge, but again, that's what's going to be cut away. That's the bleed that we're not seeing there. All right, so there's that, and so what we'll do now is we'll see if we can't go over here to our other our other Photoshop document that you downloaded here, the book cover mock-up. And so we want a 5 by 8 inch PSD sort of image here. So let me see if I can't go over here and let's see if we can't pull this down, this area right here. What we'll do is I'm going to copy everything here. I'm just going to select from layer 1 all the way up to this. I'm going to right click, I'm going to say rasterize layer style, and then what I'll do is I'll just duplicate everything. Can we duplicate this? Duplicate layers, and then okay, and then we'll just merge layers, and then what we'll do is we'll take a selection here. Let me just right here, and we'll take our selection. We'll sort of select right inside. We'll select some probably from here to about here. Well, maybe like here. That's really good. And then we'll do layer via copy. And so what we can do now is we can kind of make everything else invisible. Just kind of click through here and just make everything else invisible. This is one of those things you definitely want to be saving as you go, because this is a pretty complex, kind of thing. So we have this right here. Let's take this. Let's drag this layer up to our other document, and we'll just drop it down here. And what we'll want to do now is we'll want to make this a bit bigger, big enough to fit over this this whole thing. There. And then what we'll do is we'll right-click on it. We'll take our tool here. We'll right-click on our blending options, our free-range form, and we'll right-click on it, and we'll choose perspective, and we'll just bring down these lines here just to pull this in. So let me just pull this over a little bit. I want to say this is a bit too big for some reason. I guess this is just a bit too big. Maybe what we'll have to do is we'll have to crop it down. Maybe like that with it right there. Okay. Make this a bit smaller. I see. Well, this mock-up here is a bit different in sort of in terms of its proportions, but that's okay. We can kind of stretch this out to kind of fit into it here. So we'll just do like that, and then what we'll do is now we'll go back to perspective, and we'll just pull these corners out here to where they meet up on the edge. That's all right. You can kind of see what this might look like if you had your book cover kind of hanging out there on the edge. In this case, we can just take this right here. We can sort of overlay this with white. So we just blending options, color overlay, just have it white. All right. Okay. All right. So now we can kind of see what this looks like here. So this is a fun little thing to put on there. So let's go ahead and save this as a JPEG. And so you'll just turn in both the mock-up and the actual dust jacket, just so you can kind of see what your book would look like if it was sitting on a book itself. All right, well, very cool. So you choose a book, you choose some elements that would look good for that book cover, and then you put together your book jacket, and see if you can't also put this on the little mock-up here as well, and submit both of those. Submit the dust jacket as a PDF, and submit the hardcover book mock-up as a JPEG. All right, very cool. Cannot wait to see you guys produce.